Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Kurnia Dewi Anggraini. I'm from the Faculty of Law, Ahmad Dahlan University. On this occasion of the Borobudur International Symposium 2025, I will present my research article entitled Criminal Statistics Implementation of Diversion Against Criminal Acts for Children in Violation of the Law. Many factors fundamentally drive social change in both relationships and the public sphere. One easily identifiable factor is the increasing prevalence of violent behavior leading to crime among children of their victims of other parties. Children are a group that is vulnerable to criminal acts that come into conflict with the law, both as perpetrators of criminal acts, as victims of criminal acts, and as children who are witnesses to criminal acts. The numerous criminal cases involving children who have to face the law constitute a current and factual problem, a social and criminal phenomenon that has raised concerns among parents in particular, the public in general, and law enforcement. Children have the right to special protection, particularly within a judicial system that prioritizes the concept of justice for children in conflict with the law. And then there has been a significant increase in criminal acts involving children in conflict with the law from year to year. This is evident from the annual report recorded by the Indonesian Child Protection Commission. We call that KPAI. KPAI calls for increased capacity of child services institutions, child-centered law enforcement, and active involvement of local governments in formulating policies that support the best interests of children in legal protection. One way to protect children from the judicial and criminal process is through diversion. Diversion is a process in resolving juvenile criminal cases by prioritizing the concept of justice. Diversion is an effort to divert the lengthy and rigid process of resolving juvenile cases into an alternative solution in the best interest of the child. Diversion is regulated by the Juvenile Criminal Justice System of Law in number 11 of 2012. Based on diversion data for juvenile cases handled by several police departments, there are still many failures in the diversion system. In addition to the failure to resolve juvenile crimes through diversion, there are also other crimes that have gone through the diversion process but have not yet been resolved. Next, the author used statistical criminology method in this research by analyzing figures indicating the number of recorded crimes at a specific time and place, thus establishing a connection between statistics and criminal science. Based on this explanation, the author is interested in conducting this research with several research questions to be analyzed and studied, including the formulation of the problem in this research is how to implement diversion for child criminals according to criminological statistics and effort to implement diversion for child criminals. The study was empirical normative research. conducted using a statutory approach, a structural approach, and an interdisciplinary approach. The data sources in this study consist of primary data sources and secondary data sources and were collected in using library research and interviewing. So for research results, uh, in these research results that the author found, there are several categories of the ages of children in conflict with the law in range of year, consisting of 20, 20, 20, 20, 2020, and then 20 and 21 until 2022. The author's research findings indicate several age categories for children in conflict with the law, spanning the years 2020 to 2030. The types of crimes committed by children range from vandalism, carrying weapons without a permit, theft, and acts of violence. The stages carried out by investigators in implementing diversion at the police department are: 1. Investigators first receive a report. 2. After that, they examine the victim and witnesses. 3. After completing the witness examination, investigators will then examine the suspect. 4. Investigators will then conduct a survey at the prosecutor's office. 5. After receiving a recommendation from the BAPAS, investigators from the police department will summon both parties, the victim's family and the suspect's family, NGOs, and the local community to implement diversions. The author can show this is accordance with this graphic image where the diversion failure is visible in the green mark graph. Police obstacles during the implementation of diversion for criminal offenses for children in conflict with the law are influenced by several factors, including the lack of common ground in the diversion, or in other words, the lack of an agreement between the two parties, and then factors such as the preparators' failure to implement the diversion agreement and the lack of oversight of the diversion agreement. 3. The emotional problems of the victim and preparator who harbor resentment over past incidents hindered diversion agreement. And then the preparator's failure to offer a sincere signs apology and the victim's strong desire to deter the perpetrator. And 5, the stigma that has been attached to child perpetrators of crime. In closing, the author will provide several conclusions from the research that has been carried out. Every child case must be subject to diversion effort at the investigation, prosecution, and case examination levels. Diversion for criminals, in this case children, is directly related to criminology. The author used statistical criminology methods in this study, analyzing figure showing the number of recorded crimes at the specific time and place, thus establishing a connection between statistic and criminal science. Cases of crimes involving children as perpetrators are increasing, but the process of resolving crimes using diversion is decreasing. Next, obstacles in implementation diversion for criminal acts for children in conflict with the law. And the last one, obstacles to implementing diversion for criminal offenses for children in conflict with the law, since the formal legal process at the police include internal and external obstacles. To address these issues, the police have taken several steps to resolve them, including providing optimal service in accordance with applicable regulations. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.